presentation was done before the hexagram. The hexagram was selected to describe the presentation, and the hexagram number was 37, which has to do with family and faculty. And some of the writings discuss the economic relationship that holds a family together, and we're going to explore some of those ideas. The gift you give to the now is your receptivity to it. You can give a gift to another person, like an object or a compliment or some kind of service or love language or cooperation, partnership, communication, truth or withholding truth. But to the now, which has no form, the only gift that it's looking for, and the only gift it can receive, is to be like it, to be receptive to it. In that way, the present moment is pure receptivity. Once it becomes the past moment, it's already received, and then there's a story. But in the fresh moment, in the newly arrived moment, it is receptivity itself, and your gift is the receptivity of it, and your gift to it is being receptive. At higher consciousness, the gift we give and receive is receptivity. So at lower consciousness, then we're giving gifts of compliments and objects and cooperation, communication, love languages, services, products, forms. But higher consciousness, more subtle, the only gift there, well, I don't know if it's the only gift, but it's certainly the primary gift is receptivity. And you can call that love, you can call it acceptance, just being, spaciousness. This is why meditation, what we're attempting to do is be receptive to the thoughts that are coming, not adding a story and commentary. And if there's a story and commentary, we're receptive to that. It's like we're constantly retreating or expanding the view. Being receptive to the now, being receptive to this moment, includes receiving thoughts that believe more or less of something is needed. In other words, conditions, things that you want, things that you don't want, desire and aversion. Often it's a self-image and a story about how things are good or bad, that's wanted or not wanted, and we are just being receptive to whatever's arising, not adding our agreement or subtracting with the disagreement. Conditional love means thoughts demand more or less of something. They want something to come, it's not there, or more of it, or they want it to go away, or not even arise. And so we can respond, if we're at higher consciousness, we can respond to conditional love with unconditional love. We give love unconditionally to whatever desires and fears are focused on conditionality. If you know Eric Berne in transactional analysis, we have a negative adaptive child and negative free child. So if you've made a decision about something that you're going to do, it is perhaps wise to check in with these two entities or constructs. The negative free child wants to disobey, rebel, not be beholden to others. And so it may want to avoid entanglements and obligations. And so if what you're doing can be seen as an avoidance of obligation, an interpretation that is not one of burden, of being confined and forced into something you don't want to do, negative free child is more likely to go along with it. You may have had ideas in the past, assumptions about what freedom is, like some creative project or some relationship where your needs are met. But as you get older, you may begin to see that creative projects and relationships often come with a lot of adaptive child qualities, a lot of obligations. And so the free child may say, well, can you just get some time to be alone or not to be bothered by other people? Is that something that can be worked out, or something that's purely fun, not part of adapting or conforming? Well, meanwhile, the adaptive child wants to make sure and will endorse a plan that if there is some concession made towards how can I fulfill my obligations to other people. Hexagram 37, which we'll get to. So people at lower consciousness fear, desires operating will have more concrete interpretation of what progress is. They can't see being receptive as a gift, and they only see a gift as what form is being received. Now, in a family setting, you're very focused on what am I going to get. And if you're focused on your fears and desires related to other people, that could be a family, it could be faculty, any kind of group or humanity, then you're not seeing being receptive to others as being a gift or progress or purposeful or useful. You want to get something. But being receptive doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be an adaptive child and do what people want. It just means that you're taking in what other people are saying. Nonviolent communication is one I consider somewhat awkward, but it's one attempt to simply convey that you're listening and to move forward to making a request rather than a complaint or blame or trying to flatter somebody and fawn. So this is moving beyond fight, flight, and fawn and freeze. This is moving into more of the ideal parent in Eric Burns' model, more receptive. So the hexagram for this presentation was 37. Wind emerges from fire. The noble one has substance in words and perseverance in actions. And some literature about this hexagram speaks about how families are held together, or faculty, I would say, or any group, or humanity itself, is often held together by economic bonds. That love and passion that may be useful, but economic bonds. And what is an economic bond? It's give and take. And for economic bonds to be sustainable, then both parties have to win. It has to be a win-win scenario. You are doubling the spring, right? It's the bottom two rows, and then the third and fourth row are all spring, new beginnings, and then boom, you hit summer, you hit trial. But you have enough of a new beginning to carry you through that challenging time, just as when there's a fire and the wind picks it up, it moves that energy further, it spreads that fire. And that's what a family, that's what an economic system, that's what a faculty or group can be doing. Whether it's spreading love or hatred is another question. So just to repeat one earlier point, if a family or faculty or group is bonded by conditional love, then you really are focused not on the gift of receptivity, you're really focused on what is being expressed, what am I getting out of this, or what might I get out of this that I don't like. The whole focus is on conditions and expression, motor planning. But in a faculty or family or group or species like humanity, if we're higher consciousness, then we see the gift that we can give to ourselves and to others is to be receptive. And it's also what we can receive from others. And if that's what's being exchanged, if that's the economic situation, the relationship of just being receptive, then we're not so focused on what is being expressed. Am I being criticized? Am I being complimented? Does this person value me? Do they not value me? If that's the conversation, we're at lower consciousness and it's fear and desire. Sometimes it's appropriate to have those concerns and put up boundaries. But what I'm speaking of here is if you can hold higher consciousness, if you hold the space of receptivity to others and to yourself in a family or faculty setting, then you are likely to find a greater level of peace and joy. And there's not grasping. People may not agree with you, they may not value you, but you're being receptive to what they're saying or what they're non-verbally communicating, and you're receptive to how it feels inside and what you would like to say but may or may not actually say. But if you're receptive to the now, and you're receiving thoughts that believe that more or less from that person is needed, maybe it's too much attention, maybe it's not enough attention, maybe it's too much criticism, maybe it's not enough feedback, maybe it's not enough appreciation, maybe it's overly appreciative. All we're looking for at higher consciousness is to be receptive to what's coming, rather than judgments about what we think about what's coming. So the thoughts, lower consciousness, want more or less attention, praise, criticism, feedback. But at higher consciousness, we're just seeing our reactions to the thoughts, and we're attempting to just hold space without thought for whatever is arising, just to be listening. In nonviolent communication, It's just saying, I think this is what's being communicated to me, and here is my request going forward, in the name of building a stronger relationship and having something that's beyond an economic exchange, beyond a pure immature love exchange, but actually one of receptivity to receptivity, yin to yin, focusing on the sensory, focusing on what's coming in, not on what we want the other person to express or what we don't like or fear the other person expressing. That's Hexagram 37. Oh, wait, one more thing. So, just to